If you wish to take your Bibles, we'll read from the first chapter of Genesis. This is very familiar to you. Many of you could probably quote this from memory. Genesis 1, verses 1 through 3. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless. It was empty. Darkness was all over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light.
We have a special treat this morning. Some of you were there last evening at the Alf Birch Gymnasium at Meadowglade, and the kids really enjoyed the program last night, Ben. And Ben Roy is here today. He's been sharing with children the beauties of God's creation and nature, science, and wonderful illustrations for 16 years now. Is that right, Ben? I think with 3ABN. And we're just very pleased that you're here today, and we just welcome you, and the time is yours. May the Lord bless us through what you share.
All right, thank you, Pastor. Well, good morning. Good to be with you. How many of you watch 3ABN? Thank you for watching television. Wow, it's a great medium, isn't it? Wow, it's my privilege to just donate my time to be on Kids Time. How many of you watch Kids Time? Look at all the older people. You know, it's for kids. That's wonderful. This is great. I want to thank Andrew and Sharon Andreasen for hosting me. Thank you very much. Today, I thought we would do some science experiments. How many of you like science? How many of you like experiments? Okay, that's good. Okay, could you make a pledge for me? Okay, raise your left hand. Okay, repeat after me. I promise not to do any of these experiments at my house. I will do them at somebody else's house. There you go. Okay. But seriously, we don't want you to be hurt. But you know, every time we learn something new about science, we learn more about our Creator God. And that's our purpose this morning, is to do that. And let's see, I've got some safety glasses up here. You know what I need? I need my first volunteer. So we have somebody right in the front row. Would you want to help us to do that? Okay, why don't you come on up here? And I've got a pair of safety glasses for you right here, if you don't mind standing right over here. And what's your first name?
Lucas.
Lucas, hey, thank you. You love science? Cool, I do too. Why don't you put those safety glasses on? I'm going to put mine on too, okay? And let's see what we got right. Doesn't he look good with those glasses on? Okay, that's going to protect our eyes, okay? And that's what we want to do. Now, Lucas, what I have right here is I have a little test tube, and it's made out of glass, but there's something in there. What does that look like right there?
Chemicals.
Looks like chemicals. You're supposed to say water. Okay, but they are. Those are chemicals. So I want you to hold that right there about the top, right about there. Thank you very much. And I've got another one right here. And what does that look like?
Orange chemicals.
Orange chemicals, okay. And so I want you to hang on to this one as well. Okay, cool. And then I have this little paper towel right here. I'm going to hold it underneath there because we don't want to get anything stained or wet, right? So what I would like to have you do is I'd like to have you pour this one right, just stand this way so everybody can see. I want you to pour this one right into there, but before you do it, we're going to give you a countdown. Okay, now this doesn't blow up. Is that okay? Okay. Shall we give them a countdown? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and pour that in there. Being very careful. Yep, all the way in. Keep pouring. Whoa! Wow, what did you make, Lucas? What is that?
Light.
It's light. Have you ever made light before? You have? How did you do it?
Glow stick.
Glow stick. Hey, and that's what we have. We have a giant glow stick right here. That's what we call chemical luminescence. You know, the text that was read this morning is all about light, wasn't it? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form, and it was void. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the water, and God said what? Let there be light. That's amazing. Have you ever just tried to say, let there be light, and created light? Have you ever tried it? You know, I've tried it. But you know what? it worked. It was at dark, and I was in my bedroom, and I got underneath the covers, and I said, "Let there be light," and there was light. I was so excited until I figured out what it was. You know what it was? It was my watch. I can't make light, but God creates by speaking. Isn't that amazing? I mean, by speaking, He spoke, and planets existed. It's amazing to me, isn't it? Now that's called chemical luminescence, but you know there's animals that God created that make light. Can you think of one animal?
The dragonfish.
The dragonfish, and there's some other deep sea animals that make their own light too, and even the fireflies, right? But when an animal makes light, we call it bioluminescence. The word bio comes from the word biology, which is study of life forms, and God made all of those. That's pretty special, isn't it? I think so. Now, that's chemical energy right here, and those chemicals will run out of energy. And you know what? I'm seeing some different colors right here. This is kind of clear down here, a little bit green, and it goes into kind of yellow, and up at the top it's real oranges. Can you see all those colors? Now, that's because there's about 4 different chemicals inside of there. And if we shake them up, sometimes it can get brighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shake it up. Let's see if we can get it a little bit brighter. Let's see if we can get it to go into a higher energy level. Shall we try it? Okay, here we go. Let's shake it up, see if it works. And it did. It went just a little bit brighter, and that's amazing. Have you ever run out of energy? You have? Have you ever run out of energy? Wow. But you know what? Our energy comes from God, doesn't it? Our energy for life comes from God. You did a great job. Give him a nice hand. Good job. I'll take my glasses. You can put them down. Thanks for helping us do our experiment. We're going to set this over here, and we might be able to notice that it's going to get dimmer and dimmer as we go. Interesting. You know, I have a little measuring tool right here. You know that light travels very, very fast? What's the speed of light? 186,000 miles per second, or 300,000 kilometers per second. Well, what I have is I have a little ruler. And this ruler is, I don't know if you can read that. Can you read that? What does that say? It says 1 nanosecond. Now, this is how far light travels in 1 nanosecond. So what is a nanosecond? Well, it's a very, very small amount of time, and it's 1/1000th of a second. So if light travels from here, this end of this ruler, to this other end of the ruler, in 1/1000th of a second, that's how far it travels. Pretty fast, isn't it? It really is fast. And you know what? We can pass this around. I need it back, though, okay? Because I've only had one of them. I lost one, and I don't know where the other one is. That's 1 nanosecond. So how many times can light travel around the earth in that 1 second of time? About 7 times. That's right. That's amazing, isn't it? Can you snap your fingers? Snap your fingers and snap. Let's say it took 1 second. In that 1 second of time, light has gone around the earth 7 times. That is an amazing, amazing speed. Now, God created a light for planet Earth, didn't He? What's the name of that light? It's the sun. It's our star. Our star is it's a medium-sized star. It's not really, really very big. It's a tremendous amount of energy. It's nuclear fusion taking place every moment of every day. It lightens up planet Earth. It takes about 8 minutes for that light to come down to give us some light energy. And we also love the heat from it. Now, what would happen if that sun was too far away from us? Would it get cold? It would get really, really cold. What would happen if the sun was too close to us, like if we lived on Mercury or Venus? What would happen to us then? Well, we would be vaporized. We couldn't live. It would be very, very hot. But we happen to be on a privileged planet. We're just the right distance away from the sun, and the sun is the right size for us, and the planet Earth is the right size for us so that we have the gravity that we need. Nothing happened by accident. Everything happened by God's plan. Now, what happens to planet? You know, planet Earth is spinning right now. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? We're traveling in space. Can you feel it? Have you ever gotten sick and you never knew why? That happens. I think maybe some of us are just motion sickness because we're moving in space. Well, we do turn, don't we? Planet Earth rotates on its axis. That's right. How long does it take planet Earth to go around one time? It takes 23 hours, 56 minutes, and about 4 seconds. Man, Every day that happens. And if you happen to live close to the equator, you're spinning really, really fast. About 1,000 miles per hour. Can you imagine? That is really, really fast. And planet Earth doesn't stay just still. It rotates on its axis, but it goes around something. What does planet Earth go around? It goes around the what? The sun. The sun, our star. And it's going around and it's traveling at the speed of, what is the speed? About 60, it's over 60-some thousand miles per hour. It's incredible speed. Does the sun go anywhere? Say yes. Yes, the sun goes someplace. It's going around the Milky Way galaxy, and it's traveling extremely fast. If we add all of these speeds up, you know how fast we're traveling in the universe? We're traveling about 800 miles per second. Every second, 800 miles. It's like, wow. And we'll never be in this position again in the universe. Isn't that incredible? And who keeps all that going? It's God. If God can keep all of that going in the universe, can't He keep us going? Can't He need and reach into our needs? Oh, absolutely. That's amazing. Now hold your hands out like this. Can you feel how heavy the air is? Anybody feel how heavy the air is? If so, we want to examine you, okay? Well, air does have weight, doesn't it? Do you have weight? Yes. What gives us our weight? We mentioned it before. Gravity. If it wasn't for gravity, you and I wouldn't have weight. And it's good that we have weight, and the gravity of planet Earth gives us our weight. God created our planet the right size so that we have the right amount of gravity pulling on our bodies. What happens if you don't have the right amount of gravity pulling on your body? You're in trouble. You're either going to be too heavy, okay, and your structure and your whole anatomy can't stand it, or like our astronauts, when they go up into space and they travel around planet Earth, you know, they are in what we call weightlessness. The reason why they're weightless is because you can't measure their weight. If you put a scale underneath them, they're falling over planet Earth in the orbit. Okay, and so they're falling. If you put a scale underneath their feet, the scale is falling at the same rate that they are, and you can't measure their weight. That's why we say it's weightless. In space where they are, anywhere from 200 to 400,000 miles above the Earth, they're still over the same amount of gravity. It's over 90% of the same gravitational pull that we have right here. Well, what happens to them in that case? Because they don't have that gravity pull. You know what happens to them? Something happens. Their heads and their chests get larger. Interesting, isn't it, when in space? And their thighs and their legs get smaller. It's interesting, isn't it? And their bones and their muscles atrophy. And that's bad news. And their bones, they actually lose some bone structure. That's amazing. That's why they have to work out. And they have to have an initial pull. We are designed, God created our bodies to have resistance with gravity. You remove that and we're really, really in trouble. Hey, let's do a little experiment with gravity. We did this last night. How many of you were there last night? Okay, all right, we're going to use a little ping pong ball right here. This ping pong weighs about 2.5 grams. It's a very, very light object, all right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the atmospheric air pressure that's on us right now that we can't feel because we can't feel it, but at sea level it's about 14.7 pounds per square inch. We're going to use the atmospheric pressure that's on our bodies, which is anywhere from a thousand to a couple of thousands of pounds of air pressure pushing down on us all the time. But God created our bodies so that we don't feel that air pressure pushing down on us. Aren't you glad? We have the same amount of air pressure pushing out against it. Now that's interesting, but sometimes we feel air pressure in our ears, don't we? Have you ever had your ears pop? Because the outside air pressure should be the same as your head. Your head should be the same as the outside air pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Last night what we did was we tried to use the air pressure to accelerate a little tiny ping pong ball, and we tried to get it to go through an aluminum drink can. Now that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Now last night we used how many cans? We used 1 can. This morning we're going to try to get the ping pong ball to go through 2 cans, just to illustrate how strong atmospheric air pressure is and the fact that you and I, we don't feel it. Okay, so here's our setup. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a little pipe right here, this little piece of plumbing pipe. And we have a little piece of polyester film right here. It's actually called a piece of space blanket. It's made out of polyester, and it's coated with aluminum. And so we're going to put our little ping pong ball right inside of this pipe right here. I need somebody to help me hold this, though. We usually have people helping me. I don't know why we can't do that. Oh, you can help. Okay, well, come around here. Okay, can you hold that pipe? Why don't you hold it with two hands? Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see what we got over here. Okay, can you hold up a little higher? Okay, there we go. I'm going to put it down inside of this pipe. And as the ping pong ball rolls down the pipe, it starts to vibrate a longer and longer column of air, which changes the frequency of sound that we can hear. I'm going to try to put my microphone in there and see if we can pick it up. Okay, let's see if we can do it. And there's a little tiny screw at the bottom. When the ping pong ball hits the screw, it makes a bong sound. Oh, we'll use this mic. Thank you, Sharon. Cool. All right. She was a good student, too. She was. I had her as a student. Okay. All right. Can you hold up a little higher? Just like that. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to the vibration of the pipe. It should change. Here we go. Let's listen. Here we go. Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know how to do it. Okay, I think we missed it. Okay, I think it's all the way down there. Okay, it's all the way down there, so we're in good shape. Okay.
It's on the off.
Okay, good. Okay. What do you want me to do with that? Okay, I'll put it over here. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to seal off the end of the pipe right here. All right, we're going to seal it off. We don't want any air to go in the pipe. We don't want any air to come out of the pipe. So let's seal this thing off. Okay, here we go. Just about like that. Now, we use ping pong balls because they are not claustrophobic. No, they're not. They're not claustrophobic. You know what claustrophobia is? Hi. You know what claustrophobia is?
Yes.
Yes, I thought you did. And that's why we use them, because they're not afraid of being in tight, confined places, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the end of this right over here. Somebody said, have you ever tried a golf ball in this? And I have. It won't fit. They're too big. Plus, golf balls are claustrophobic. So the next time I play golf, I'm going to play with a ping pong ball. So let's go ahead and get this off over here, right? I appreciate you helping me with this, you know. Did you help me last night?
Yes.
That is so cool. Well, did you know that I was going to ask you, or actually, did you know that you were going to come up here and help me with this experiment today?
No.
No, I didn't either until you just jumped up here. But you know, I knew somebody that knew that you were going to help me before you were born. Who was that?
That was God.
That was God. That's right. God knows everything. You know, God gives us freedom. We can do anything we want to do. God gives us absolute freedom, but He knows what we're going to do. Now, is that a loving God that gives us freedom? A freedom of choice. Think about that. That's an amazing, amazing thing. Anybody that loves us that much, I think we ought to love Him back. Don't you? I do too. Thank you for helping me. Let's give him a nice hand. What a great volunteer. And what we're going to do, we're going to hook this up. We've got to get rid of the air inside of the pipe right here. So, Mr. Andrew, could you help me and plug this thing in there, okay? What we have is we have a little can holder right here. I'm going to put my can in there, so we're going to have to get that open a little bit. We're going to put 2 cans in there. So we got, okay, why don't you, there you go. All right. We could break that up. So instead of using 1 can like we did last night, we're going to use 2 cans. Okay, there we go. So we're going to shoot a 2 can. How's that? All right. All right, so we're going to put that right here, and then we're going to aim this right here. We're going to get this pipe to go right inside of right there. So we're going to aim it right there. We have a little safety shield right here. We're going to tape that down. All right, now if this experiment works, that ping pong ball should be traveling about 600 miles per hour. And all we're using is the atmospheric air pressure. It's very, very strong and very, very powerful. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and Andrew, if you'll plug the pump in for us. Remember, we're vacuuming the air out of the pipe. Okay, we're not putting air in, we're vacuuming air out. As soon as I've gotten rid of most of the air in the pipe, I'm going to take my pair of scissors. I'm going to poke a hole into that piece of space blanket. that's going to allow the atmospheric air pressure that's around us to come in and take the place of the vacuum and accelerate the ping pong ball out the other end. Now, it does make a noise. So when I ask for a countdown, you need to cover your ears, okay? We'll start our countdown with 5, okay? So how are we doing? I'm trying to listen to the sound of the pipe. I don't have a gauge on it. Okay, looks pretty good. Are you ready? Okay, cover your ears. Okay, all right, let's get our countdown going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and right there. Okay, you can go ahead and unplug that right here. Here's our ping pong ball. Okay, whoa. And there's a little bit of a scratch on it right there, but it survives. Sometimes it breaks open. You can pass that around. Hey, let's check out our cans over here. Let's see what happened to our cans. We can strip this away. Thank you, Andrew. And, oh, well, we weren't successful. All we got was one can. We got a hole through one can. But the other can, all we did was we put a dent in it. That's all we got is just a dent. Now, that's interesting. But that's air pressure. Air pressure is extremely, extremely strong. So that one ping pong ball went all the way through this little aluminum drink can. Little tiny things do matter, don't they? They really do. You know, planet Earth, we have a lot of space junk flying around planet Earth. We have hundreds of pieces of space junk, actually thousands of pieces of space junk going around planet Earth right now. And somebody's going to have to clean that up. Scientists are trying to figure out how can we collect all those pieces of space junk. We send astronauts up, we send rockets up, we send satellites up. We don't want to hit those pieces of space junk. Wow. So we're going to have to be careful. Little things do matter. Right now we have a spaceship that's going around planet Saturn. Have you read about it? It's amazing, and it's running out of energy. It's running out of fuel. And so they're going to crash land it right into Saturn. They're taking pictures, and that's really, really exciting. And they said that if that spacecraft should hit a little grain of sand, it would destroy the spacecraft, because that spacecraft is traveling over 70,000 miles per hour. Little things do matter. You know, how about a little smile? Talked about that last night. Does a little smile make a difference? It could brighten your day. Even somebody that you don't even know, a little smile can encourage them. What about a little word of gratitude, of thank you, a message, a phone call? Makes a great deal of difference. Never, never, never think about little things not counting. They do count. And God would have us to make a difference in people's lives. We can put that back there. Thank you for doing that for us. Wow, that's cool. Well, you mentioned about planet Earth being at the right place and the sun being at the right place. What would happen to the air if the air was too cold? If we happen to live on Mars or Neptune or dwarf planet Pluto, what would happen to us? Well, I'm going to take a little balloon and I'm going to fill the balloon up with air. And then we're going to get the balloon and the air inside of it as cold as outer space. And so I'm going to blow this up, okay? But you might want to cover your ears because these are the squeakiest balloons. I don't know. So let's try this. Here we go. Okay, that's a squeaky balloon. So let's see. I'm going to get this balloon about this size right here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to bring the ice chest. Could you get that ice chest? It's just out there. Thank you very much. And we're going to put some real cold stuff in our ice chest. I brought some liquid what? Liquid nitrogen, okay? The liquid nitrogen is right here. So I'm going to pour some of this in our ice chest, but I'm going to go ahead and open this up. When I open it up, it makes a cloud. It makes a cloud because the liquid nitrogen is has a temperature of a minus 196 degrees Celsius, and it's very, very cold. Let's see, let's take this right here, and, okay, that's not the right, okay, I'm going to pour some of it in there. Let's make a cloud right here. And that cloud is really, really... Actually, what you're seeing are trillions and trillions of little tiny water molecules. Normally, we can't see them unless we do what? Unless we cool them down. So I'm going to pour some of this inside of there. We're going to make another cloud. We're going to freeze Andrew's hands. That's okay, right? Got two. Okay, you have two. That's good. All right, let's pour that in there like that. I'm going to take our little balloon that I just blew up. I'm going to put it inside of right here. Let's go ahead and put it right inside. Okay? It's going to get as cold as outer space. Now that should be interesting. All right? And it looks like it's deflating, but it really still has the same amount of air in it. It's just that the air molecules are taking up less space. And they're slowing down. When they get cold, they slow down and they take up a little tiny bit of space, okay? Let's see. I'm going to use these to go ahead and get that as cold as we can. And I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take it out, and the room temperature in the sanctuary right now is about 400 degrees warmer than the liquid nitrogen on the Fahrenheit scale. I think I'll put the balloon right about there. Okay, let's see what happens when we warm it up. If the air got this cold, you and I couldn't breathe it because it's too dense. Let's just set it right there and see what happens. Now the molecules are moving faster and faster, and they're getting further and further apart. And so the balloon just fills itself back up again. It's a self-inflating balloon. Now that's really, really cool. There we go. And that's going to be about the same size as it was before. But we couldn't breathe air if it was that cold. Our bodies aren't designed for it. Okay. Now I didn't ask if I could do this, but could I use one of these flowers? Whose flowers are they? The church. Okay. Well, you're the church. Can I use them? Okay. All right. So we have permission from the church. And what we're going to do? What would happen to our lovely flowers? What would happen to our plants? What would happen to materials that you and I use every day if they got as cold as outer space? Well, let's see. Let's use the red one. We'll put the red flower in the liquid nitrogen. We're going to get that as cold as outer space. Okay? This one right here, we could examine it. I can examine it like this. I can check out all the parts of the flowers. It's very, very pliable, very, very soft. I can just put it in my hand and I can caress it like that, and it still is just fine. But what would happen if we got it as cold as outer space? Well, let's try this one. Let's check this out. Let's check that out. Let's go ahead and... What happened to it? Oh my. Now that's interesting. We couldn't survive if God hadn't put planet Earth in the right place. We are in the right place at the right time. It's not by accident, it's by design. God designed it all. He designed it all for us. Now that's really quite amazing. I think it's really, really interesting. Now let's take our balloon right here. Our balloon is back to the same size as it was, and that's good. All right, we'll put that down right about here. Now, I've got something set up right over here. Let's check this out here. In fact, there was a man that lived a long time ago, and his name was Heinrich Rubens. And he was born about 1904. And he wanted to see sound. Have you ever seen sound? Sound is an interesting thing. At that time, we didn't have any oscilloscopes, so we could see standing waves and sound waves. He wanted to see that. He was a physicist. You might relate to that. And he wanted to see sound. So what he did was he took a tube, and I have a tube right here that we built, and he put a tube, and he put 80 little tiny holes in it. So we have little tiny holes in this tube. And then he fed it with some fuel, and we're going to use some propane fuel, okay, for this right here. Let me get a little more room over here. And then he had a speaker. We have a nice speaker right here, and we have a little amplifier, and I have a little microphone. And we're going to try to see someone's voice in flames, in standing wave form. And let's see, I'm going to need to plug this one in here. Let me plug this right over here, okay? And we had a volunteer, whoa, okay. Test, test. So that microphone works. This is a good thing, okay? We had a volunteer, Melody, right? Cool. And I don't know if you can come around here, okay? And she volunteered because she is a good vocalist, right? But in order to sing, you're gonna have to wear safety glasses. Have you ever had to wear safety glasses to sing? No. Oh, and I'm so glad that you get this opportunity. And so here's our safety glasses. You don't mind putting those on, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to try to fire this up right here. And if we could cut the air conditioning off, any fans and breezes will move our little flames around. So we're going to open this up right here, and we do have a fire extinguisher right there. So Andrew's going to be our fireman again. So we have to get rid of the air inside of this pipe, and we're going to put some propane fuel inside of that pipe right here, okay? So we're actually going to have a little barbecue up here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. Let's see how we're going right here. Okay, looks like we're cooking pretty good there. I don't know if you can kill the spots so we can have this a little darker up here. Okay, there we go. And we're getting some air coming from, how about, if we close, but we have people on the other side of those doors. You don't want to come in? Maybe I could come out there. What's that?
There's a fire. They went to be outside.
Okay. Sometimes it's strange how air moves. How it's really strange. So wow, we really got a breeze going. What's that?
Say raise the thermostat 1 degree on that side. Raise the thermostat 1 degree. Then just turn the fans off in a minute.
Okay. It's hard to know where the wind comes from, isn't it? Yeah.
All these people breathing.
Yeah. Stop breathing. Good idea. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that. Okay, it looks like they're settling down a little bit, doesn't it? Since it's all blowing this way, maybe you all ought to inhale. Well, we're just going to have to go with it anyways. It's just blowing. Still got air movement somehow. Okay, well, let's check it out here. So I'm going to turn this microphone on and see what we got right here. Okay, and it responds pretty... Okay, now you kind of, Melody, you kind of have to just really hold this real close to your mouth, almost eat the microphone. But if you want to, you can just play, before you sing, you could just try some do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do kind of like stuff, or just some interesting sounds, and just kind of have fun with...
Based on volume or on range?
Both, actually.
Both.
If the volume is great, then you'll get flames that are higher.
Higher. This is so cool. Actually, while they asked me in the back, have you ever wanted your voice to be in flames? Yeah, that's wow. And I said, then this would be what the Holy Spirit would look like when you would speak. And wouldn't that be so cool to actually see it?
Okay. So you're going to sing for us?
Yeah. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
Whoa. Thank you very much. Whoa. Now that was interesting. Thank you. Wow. In flames. To see your voice in flames. That's amazing, isn't it? Wow. Let's see if we can get the rest of these to light up here. Okay. How many of you have fingerprints? We all have fingerprints. Now, fingerprints are interesting because no one in the world has your same fingerprints. You know that, don't you? That's why we use it for identification. Of course, now we're using eye print and so forth. But everybody has a voice. And your voice is a print. Your voice is so unique that no one in the entire world has your same voice. That's interesting, isn't it? There's 7.4 billion people living on this planet right now. No one has your same voice. In fact, no one has ever had your same voice that has ever lived on this planet. Now, that is really super interesting to me because, you know, God has given you and me an invitation to go with Him on vacation forever. It's called eternity, to be with our Lord. But you know, if we don't go, if we don't RSVP and says, yes, Lord, I'm yours, I'm going, no one can take your place. You can't call somebody up and say, hey, I can't go. Why don't you take my place? I won't be missed. You and I will be missed. Why? You are unique. God did not make another you. And so forever, God will not have another you. And we will not have that chance again. That's amazing to me. Wow. How unique is that? And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn this off. There we go. All right. And that should be, hang on, we'll do this back over there. Right. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Okay. Hunting for, oh, okay. Is this plugged in? All right. I think we're good there. All right. I'm going to take this off. We got a little more room here. All right, here we go. Let's put it down here. All right. Okay. Oh, that little our vortex generator. Thanks. Cool. You know, one of the strongest forces that we know of is a vortex. You have tornadoes up here? Yeah, it's kind of rare though, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I live in North Georgia. It's not necessarily too rare there, but they're very strong. It's one of the strongest forces that we know of. And we can actually design some vortexes. And so we're going to use this little, it's actually like a little trash can. You can build one of these at home if you want to. The best way, if you're not traveling, is just borrow your neighbor's trash can. And you put a little hole in the bottom of it. And a vortex is a spinning column of air. It can be a spinning column of water as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with some fog. And we ought to be able to get a vortex coming out of this right here. Okay? So let's see what we got right here. Let's see. Jacob, could you help me? Here we go. If you don't mind standing back there, and if you'll push this green button and hold that green button down when I ask you to. Okay, that button right there. Okay, are you ready? Yeah, it's a little warm. The button's warm?
No.
No? Yeah, okay, well don't touch that, just touch the button, okay? So go ahead and push the button for me. That's right. Can you see any fog coming in there? Okay, so we're going to see some fog. If we don't put fog in here, you won't be able to see the air. You know, air is clear, it's transparent. So we have to do that.
Isn't that a smoke maker?
It's a fog machine, okay?
Looks like smoke.
Okay. Okay, and stop. Okay, thank you, but don't go away. Stay right there. Okay, here we go. You know, there are animals that make vortexes behind them. A fish in the water, there's a vortex behind it. An airplane in the air, there's vortexes behind it, or birds as well. So let's see. Let's go ahead and try to get a vortex to come out of here. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can see a vortex. Here we go. Let's try. All right, we got some. Okay, the air may. Oh, no, you need to stay back there. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can get a vortex to come out. We got some, can we kill the air again? We're fighting the air currents in this room here. Okay, cool, isn't it? So that's a vortex. Okay, it's having fun with the air. There we go. Cool. Now, what shape is that? It's round. It's circular. Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, let's try a little experiment. Let's change the shape. What shape is that? It's square. Okay, so we're going to change the shape. Whoa. Get some smoke signals going. All right, let's see what we got. Let's change the shape. How many of you think that it's going to come out round now? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you don't care? Wow, okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Andrew, let's go ahead and is the little light on? Okay, go ahead and push the button again, please. Put a little more fog in there. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Let's give Andrew a nice hand. Thanks for helping me. You can go back. Jacob, I'm sorry. I think Andrew's your dad. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, round or square? Let's check it out. All right, here we go. And let's see what's going to happen right here. Here we go. Now, wait a minute. It's coming out of a square hole, but the vortex is round. Now, how does that happen? How come? How come? How come? Whoa. Now, what's the strongest force in nature? Actually, what's the strongest structure in nature? It's round. It's round. Now, who set up laws of motion? Who set up laws of science? Who was the creator? God, right? And so even though it's coming out of a square hole, it can't stay square because it's unstable. It's got to go to the strongest structure possible, which is round. Have you ever seen a square tree trunk? A tree with a... No, it would be a very weak tree. Or how about a square egg? No, it couldn't survive. And people don't have square heads, do they? No, it wouldn't work. It's all round. Now, that reminds me of something. You know, one day, Jesus and the disciples, they were going across the lake, and he had been preaching all day long. They were tired. Jesus was in the boat doing what? Sleeping. And there was a tremendous storm. A tremendous storm came up. It was probably a perfect storm. Now, some of these men were fishermen. They were used to being in water. They were used to being in storms and in a boat, and they were afraid for their lives. It must have been really some kind of storm. Well, they found Jesus sleeping in the boat. Jesus wasn't afraid. He was sleeping. They woke him up and they said, "Master, we're going to perish. We're going to die." What did Jesus do? You know the history. He stood up and he did what? He told those water molecules to calm down. He told the air molecules to be still. And the disciples were afraid. They were afraid to see that kind of power that Jesus had, because Jesus had power even over nature, even over the air and the water. That is amazing. You know what happens sometimes? You and I get in a boat. It's called this life. And we happen to forget that Jesus, the Holy Spirit, God's Spirit, is with us. We forget about it. But He's there. He's with us. I think that's interesting to think about. Wow. Well, we're going to put this down over here. And I don't know about you, but every time we learn more about science, we learn more about our Creator God. This earth was not created by accident. It was created by the Word of God, by the breath of His mouth. And God sustains the universe. He sustains our solar system. He sustains us. And He's worthy of our love. He's worthy of our adoration, our worship. And I can't think of anybody that I would rather spend eternity with than our Creator. How about you? I think so.
Did you enjoy that? That was pretty exciting. You know, I think each one of us has a special tour with God waiting for us in heaven. And He wants to take us through His created world. He wants to show us whatever our interest is, whatever it is. I want to see the stars. I want to see what God has created out there. We see so much beauty in the Hubble telescope and the images that it sends back. I want to see what God has made, and I want Him to give me the personal tour. And I pray, Lord, I pray that each one of us will be there to be able to see the things. If you appreciate animals or what's under the ocean or gems and whatever it is, God has something to show you. We're going to enjoy a little fellowship meal together. I want to encourage you to stay by for that, because Ben is going to share with us again this afternoon at 2:30. But let's finish our service this morning I'm going to invite our singers up, and we're going to sing praise to the Lord and to close our service this morning. It's hymn number 1, and the words are on the screen.
Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Oh, my soul, praise Him, for He is thy help and salvation. Oh, ye who hear, now to His temple draw near. Join ye in glad adoration. Praise to the Lord, who o'er all things so wondrously reigneth. Shieldeth thee under His wings, yea, so gently sustaineth. Hast thou not seen how thy desires there have been granted in what He ordaineth? Praise to the Lord, who doth prosper thy work and defend thee. Surely His goodness and mercy here daily attend thee. Ponder anew what the Almighty can do, if with His love He befriend thee.
Father, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your created works, Father. And most of all, we thank you for the redemption that we find in your Son. We thank you for His goodness to us. We thank you for His love and your love. Father, draw our hearts to you. Let Christ be lifted up. And Father, bless us as we fellowship this afternoon, and bless us as we come together again for